Oh, boy, Jimmy. You were teasing something in the office, by the way. Are you ready for that, or you want to do it a little later?
You two duke it out a lot.
We haven't much lately, though.
And all I see when you're together is nothing but happiness, smiles, and love. Like at the Virus show.
It's a facade.
Whenever they're around, it's like it's fun and everything. And then
you might want to walk.
Just hear what goes on in this apartment of Jimmy's.
You might want to walk around back.
It's just a facade.
Oh, yeah.
As we roll around back, you'll notice the front is a facade. This means false front.
That's right.
In the back, you'll just see 2x4s holding it up barely.
It was, no, we haven't fought much lately. That one, we fought like, once or twice in the last 3 weeks. I mean, or not even less months. I mean, it's not much at all lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a bad one, and I just dreamt she was coming to hurt me.
All right, well, the thing you were teasing, whatever it is, we'll do next break.
Oh, yeah, it's a
doozy.
I would say it's a doozy, but it was just my evening.
Lulu.
Hey, what?
Evening, not
your evening. Okay, typical. I like that.
What website? All right, Jimmy, why are you a fancy man? We'll keep on that Sir Ben King.
I want to hear about Jim's fanciness last night.
I forgot. It's funny, you know how Louis C.K., our pal, I found out, and I was disgusted, by the way, that he had done a film with Alan Alda.
Mm-hmm. Alan Alda.
Yes.
Of MASH fame, amongst many other post-MASH things.
Who I'm a huge fan of.
Wait, can you get Alan Alda's IMDb up? I'm sick of people that always state the obvious. Alan Alda
of MASH. West Wing. I mean, he was on Seems Like Old Times.
Yes.
The 4 seasons.
The guy did many movies right after MASH, too.
Yeah. He was he's in a lot of films, man.
Don't forget, he also did Everyone Says I Love You.
Oh, yeah?
That's going to be my new bit. Go with the obscure ones.
That's obscure. I don't think you've heard of it.
Ooh.
And don't forget Whispers in the Dark from 1992. I want a TV movie.
Oh, yeah, he was in The Aviator.
Yeah, he was.
DiCaprio.
He's brilliant. All right, so you got to meet him last night, Jimmy?
Well, I had met him once before and got a picture with him. I stalked him at his book signing. But I've been dying to get the picture signed, but Alan is notoriously difficult to get a picture with. So Louis invites me to the cast party, and I'm in the cab, and I have my picture and my little pens, and Louis calls, he goes, "Don't come." And I'm like, "Why, Lou?"
Oh.
And he goes, "Alan is not going to show up. It's in a hip-hop club. They're having the cast party in the back room of a hip-hop club where you have to be wanded to walk through." So I'm so pissed off.
Oh, no.
I'm sitting there with this stupid Alan Alda photo, he and I smiling, just a fat boy at an icon. And I have my little pens, 2 different color Sharpies, in case Alan has a preference.
Oh, this is so typical.
I cancel my spot, and I'm like, And he goes, but instead, you want to go to Nobu and have dinner with me and Chris Rock?
What?
Oh. And I'm like, you know what? I think I would like that.
Wow.
So I head to Nobu, which I've never been to, and I have a fancy dinner with...
the close one or the far one from here?
The downtown one.
Okay.
The Ridge.
All right.
And I walk in. It was funny. It was Chris Rock, and then it was Louis, and then me. You've never seen order of importance so perfectly displayed. And so we're sitting there eating, and I was actually going to leave my picture. I was like, I'll leave it in the cab because I was embarrassed because I had it like in an envelope with my markers and a piece of cardboard, and I had it in a shopping baggie just to carry it properly.
Chris Rock might have thought you had a script with you, so that could have been
I wouldn't have. If he saw one episode of Lucky Louie, he'd know I didn't have a script unless I wrote it. Nobody sent me one. So I had a fancy fine dinner at Nobu, and then Matt came and we sat down and ate. It was cool to have like 4 of us there.
Who paid?
What Chris did.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Did you see how much he tipped?
I didn't notice.
Did he break the myth?
No, I'm sure he did. It was a very expensive dinner, but we had to stay along because Matt, it was late, and he just ate a little bit later, and I didn't. No one knew he was coming. He just kind of showed up.
So what did you guys talk about?
Well, when Chris, me and Louie talked about the business, and then Matthew, we talked about
Matthew
Broderick. Yeah. He came
okay, that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. He came.
Yes, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
Then came and sat down with you.
Yeah, we discussed Tough Crowd. He was a fan, and yeah, we all just chit chatted.
Were you brave enough to talk about the Opie and Anthony show?
You're brave enough to talk about how he
sell out,
how he railed his wife.
Well, I tell you one thing.
And then she gave us a knockout punch.
I think
Jimmy has enough credits now where he doesn't have to use the Opie and Anthony.
Nope.
So it's like, I was on Lucky Louie.
HBO special
that I did. And I just filmed my HBO special.
Well, me, Louie, and Chris did talk about the show because we talked about the Jones Beach thing. Because he's like, aren't Opie and Anthony doing something like big? He heard.
Yes.
So we talked about he knows about the stand-up stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then I'm sure Matthew.
Broderick.
He had a Broderick.
Matthew
He had like
Broderick.
a very twisted sense of humor.
Did he?
Yeah. I don't think it would have freaked him out at all, especially because you guys, it was funny the way she called up and you guys did what I would have done, which is like, I mean, who wouldn't appreciate that?
Of course.
So it was good. So we all had a nice fancy dinner like gentlemen, and then we all left, and Matthew and I took a picture, and I went to the cast party anyway because I felt like being part of
At the hip hop club?
Yes, and Alan Alda was there.
No.
And so Alan and I chit-chatted for a little bit.
No, now you're lying.
Oh, no, I'm not. He was there, and I walk over, and Louis there's no one I love more than Louis C.K. He introduces me to Alan, and I have my little shopping. If I would have left it in the cab, I would have slit my throat in front of Alan and yelled a Hawkeye quote. And then but we're sitting there talking for a little bit, and it turns out, I think Louis told you this, but Alda had Googled Louis and listened to some of this program.
Yeah, we were kind of saying that yesterday.
Wow.
And he had listened to some of this show. And he's like, yeah, Alan, this is Jim Louis, a comedian. He's on that Opie and Anthony show. And he's like, oh, those guys. He's like, those guys, they were much more like insightful and thoughtful than I would have thought.
Well, book Alan Alda.
Well, I wouldn't go nuts.
Slow down.
We were talking, and I said, I'm sure there's certain bits that would sway your opinion. In case he Googled more.
Yeah, thanks for throwing us under the bus.
Oh, no, I had
to stay away from that Google.
Jimmy was separating as much as possible.
No, I had to prepare him in case he Googled again. I
right.
To know,
that clever stuff must have been when I was on the show,
Someone tell Alan Alda, Google causes cancer. Yeah. Don't go there.
We had a lovely chat about MASH, and he was so happy that I knew this moment. We were talking about language, and he knows that we've caught flack, and he's like, and I'm like, well, even you guys, I mean, you said son of a bitch on the air before anyone else had said that.
That was a big issue back then.
And he goes, I wrote that. He was so psyched.
Oh, did he do it in that way, that Alan Alda? I wrote that.
Yes, he could have just
wow, his hand went
hotter.
Oh.
Wait a minute, you can't write son of a bitch.
Well, he wrote the scene, though, with Mako.
Yeah, I understand, but
that's what he said.
You can't really get credit for writing son of a bitch into a sitcom.
But I wrote that.
Son of a bitch is just one of those things we all have written.
Did you feel like Trapper John when he did that? I did,
but not in 1982, because that was never done.
Right.
And I'm like, that was an amazing moment. And he goes, we had so much problems. They tried to, the network tried to censor us, so we had this talk about censorship. And then I think I got, a little too intense. And I was like, how about that episode where,
and then he's like, all right, enough about MASH.
Yeah, and then I was
Jimmy was the went too far guy.
Oh, talk about MASH. One instance like that is great, but then if you keep talking about MASH, because it's all anyone probably talks to him about
so
when they first meet him.
So we had a good 5-minute chat about stuff, and then it was great. Someone started talking to him, and I'm like, all right, man, I put my hand out, and it just said... No!
Oh, you had to walk away with your hand?
Dude, the director saw it. He's the guy that played, McManus on Oz. He saw it. People around saw it. And then Alan saw my hand. He goes, oh, and he shook my hand.
Oh.
Nicely. But I hadn't gotten my picture signed. I was too embarrassed to ask. We were chatting, and then Louis the greatest. He's like, do you want me to ask? I'm like, no, I'll do it. And then we're discussing this, and then Matthew Broderick is like, well, do you want me to ask for you? I have Matthew Broderick
Broderick is going to whore out for your picture.
Getting my stupid photo signed, because Alan hates signing crap because of all these idiots that wanted MASH stuff signed. They sell it.
Yeah.
And Louis was very gracious and asked him, and Alan said, well, I always make exceptions for cops and firemen and comedians. So he signed a very nice photo for me, and that was my evening. He signed it, Dear Jim, I'm your biggest fan, Alan Alda.
It did.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just to be sweet. He was very sweet. He was really nice.
What a fancy evening you had out with the hobnobbing with stars.
I had the evening of a gentleman.
Okay, while you were doing that, I was...
So then I went home and grabbed what could be mistaken as a twisted turnip root and just couldn't let the party go. So I was online watching pornography, not even horny. Just one more thing to help me escape from who I really am, picture or not.
Do you think Alan did the same thing? Went home and just put pornography up on his computer?
No, he didn't. He probably went home and just looked at his 11 seasons of DVDs. I invited Broderick on the show, by the way. I told him you'd be treated well. He seemed amenable to the idea.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
I'm a huge fan of his work.
How can you not be? The guy was in Glory.
Like I was thinking Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Bueller with Biloxi Blues.
No, Ferris Bueller.
That's good too.
It's all about Ferris Bueller. Very good, Jimmy.
War Games. I liked War Games.
I forgot about that.
Sure, he was a little kid in that one, but
Joshua?
Do you want to play a...
Joshua?
That was a fine evening, but everyone has heard of the show. Everyone's aware of the show and what's going on.
Well, yeah.
Well,
not going to get us guests, though. They're aware of it.
Like, heard of it.
People are also aware of Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, when they show you just walking on TV every day.
And they don't talk about his paintings when they bring him up.
That's true. John Gacy stuff is not hanging in the Guggenheim.
Right.
Should be.
Hot Lips was never sexy.
She was. She
wasn't.
Ass.
Matronly.
No.
She was matronly.
She was packed into
motherly.
No, Jimmy.
No, I was never into the Hot Lips.
Khakis.
Never into Hot Lips.
I liked her backside.
Occasionally, Hawkeye would pull out with these nurses that were really hot.
For the old school ones.
Yeah.
One of them was Cotter's wife.
Was it?
Yeah, Cotter's wife.
I remember that one.
Yep.
Did you talk to him about that episode?
No, but I would have. I was like, you said the blood of chills. I just deduced chills thinking about myself.
Oh, no. Did you bring up an episode and say?
Should be shot.
What did you say? Because I heard that line, and I know that line. What did you bring up?
I don't remember.
What did you bring up? Say
Come on, let's go, Jimmy.
I'm like, you said, because there's this thing he says to Radar, because he was happy again. I said something about, you talk about how your job is to pull bodies out of a sausage grinder, which it is, and that was a great line. He goes, yeah, I wrote that thing. He was really proud that I remember that. And I'm like, you actually said that to stand in the blood of children in a sitcom. And I was like, as I said it, I'm like, you melodramatic nothing.
Oh, my God.
All right, Jimmy, I won't be looking at you for the rest of the program.
I
can't.
We're using your hands as you're saying it?
Yes,
man.
He was hunched in listening to me, sitting on a bar stool.
You said.
Like, he was excited because you started off well with him, and he's thinking, wow, I think I might have a new person I can hang out with that's not going to spend his whole time in front of me talking about MASH.
Or at least talking about it. I don't know. I felt it slip away.
Oh, you did?
I felt it slip away.
It's like, damn, I'm losing him.
I almost said that, and it went, bye, Alan. Bye. I'm sorry, I'm a nobody. He thought he had a cool friend he could chat with.
Jimmy introduced me to...
Did you say, I'm losing him? Dumbo, come on, don't let the bastard win.
Well, no, someone else. I watched people annoy him, and I'll say this for myself. I knew when to punch out.
You did.
I did not annoy him. I didn't walk over and say goodbye at the end. We had a nice handshake, and that when he finally saw my hands standing like a wooden soldier.
I had a conversation with Corbin Burnson.
Yeah.
That's what I picture. Just a regular conversation. Two guys. Me, Corbin Burnson. That was from Seinfeld.
Speaking of Seinfeld, Jimmy introduced me to Jerry Seinfeld at Colin Quinn's kind of bachelor party slash roast. And after the whole thing was over, like, Seinfeld's on stage because he's good friends with Colin Quinn. He came and he roasted him a little bit. And so I'm on stage and I get introduced to Jerry Seinfeld. I'm like, don't even mention Seinfeld. Don't even mention Seinfeld.
Don't even bring it up.
Don't even say you're a big fan.
Good boy.
So Comedian was out. And I'm like, man, I saw Comedian. I thought it was great. I really liked the behind-the-scenes looks of you trying out new material and getting it to a place where you could bring it into, to a mass audience. And he was really happy that I brought that up and not Seinfeld. He's like, oh, thank you very, whatever. Thank you. And then...
Nothing. Hey, that's that episode of Seinfeld.
Then I realized, without mentioning Seinfeld, I had nothing else to say to him. I'm like, yeah, I really liked it. And we're purposely giving you silence here because it was just awkward silence, looking at each other, and I'm like, ooh. All right, take care. And jumped off the stage, and my whole body was heating up.
He's an intimidating guy, man, Seinfeld.
He really is.
Because this is what I love about him. He's brutally honest. Like, he won't do anything he doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
There was a picture. I saw him do it. There was at the Comedy Cellar. These Israeli guys want to take a photo with him, and he's okay with that. He was like, okay. And the guy went to put his arm around Jerry, and Jerry goes, "We don't know each other. We don't need to touch." And he wasn't being awful, but I was like, wow, he means it.
Just brutal. Yeah. Did you see that HBO thing? I think it was, or maybe Showtime. I'm not sure which one. They did the. They had Robert Klein and Chris Rock, and Jerry was up there, and they were kind of honoring his work. It was HBO, as a matter of fact, because they had the head of HBO come out. And Jerry was just the whole time looking so awkward being there. And, what's this pomp and circumstance over, my career? And he got up to give a speech at the end, and it was just hysterically brutal. He brutalized the president of HBO. He brutalized the whole event of him just sitting there on a stage on a chair while an audience just gawked at him. He abused the audience for being there for something like this. He is just brutal. He's not Jerry Seinfeld from Seinfeld.
Right.
He's got like parts of that, but it's not like a fun guy kind of a thing.
He doesn't seem like he's a fun guy.
Well, he's
quite frankly.
The beauty of him is he knows how much money he has, and he'll like joke with the audience about it. About like, yeah, it's great being me, and he's like, he doesn't pull that shy crap. And I was trying to, because like, I was talking to him one time about the Mets-Yankees World Series. This is a guy back a few years, and we were talking about the Subway Series. We had something to bond over because I'm a Yankee fan, and then Colin came over and just blocked the whole thing. Oh, we talking about sports? Shut up! Then he just ruined it for me, and I had nothing else to say to Jerry. He'll tell Jerry to shut up. He doesn't care. He never calls Jerry back. Colin's not impressed.
That's why Colin sucks, because you find the one thing you can talk to someone about, and he blows up your spot.
He'll just ruin it for you.
But we went off road. By the way, Jimmy was telling the story about sushi with Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was a fun night, and we got him his Alan Alda.
Yes,
yeah, he told the whole story on the air.
That's great.
He told every.
We were so happy to do that for him. It was like a fucking dying
kid.
But
then Matthew Broderick was like, Matthew's offering like, "What do you want me to help you get it?"
I want to help. He was invested in it. He wanted it to happen too.
My favorite part of the whole thing was the Alan Alda, where Jimmy goes up and discusses some of the language that was used on MASH and how it was like cutting edge and broke barriers back then. And Alan Alda was like into it and really got into the story and explaining it to Jimmy and what it was like back then with the censorship. And then Jimmy took it too far and had to mention another MASH episode. And then he realized he had lost Alan. I love that.
I don't think it happened like you thought.
No, it did. It was just a little bit, nothing major, but I sense that he went,
all right, enough.
Internally,
I gave you enough of my time.
Exactly, our moment is over.
Alan Alda's,
might have not been true.
Alan Alda's thinking, I think I might have found a new friend. This is good. And then
and Jimmy just goes, I'll walk away.
Of children in a sitcom.
Oh, God.
And internally, he went, fucking linoleum floor somewhere. Bleed out, you fucking chinless pig. He hated me.
No, he told me that he listened to you guys' show because he listened to clips that I had of me and Bill Donahue and some other stuff on my website.
Right.
And he said, those guys sound really intelligent. They're very thoughtful. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Yeah, he liked your show.
God damn.
Yeah, he told me the same thing, too.
Alan Alda.
When Alan and I was chatting.
Pretty good. When you and Alan, we are chatting.
Every time his mouth moves, I'm like, that's Alan Alda talking.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's weird.
Yes. When he did that.
Yes.
My chin goes very high up when I speak.
He was very nice.
He's a really good guy.
And he looks like a psychopath in the movie.
He's funny, too.
Yeah.
Cool. We had a funny... we were having lunch, and I told him about my dad telling me about sex. Because my dad explained to me how to make a woman come by teasing her. Like, my dad gave me this sort of European, the art of lovemaking when I was like 10. And he said that his mom was very similarly inappropriate. He asked his mother what sex was when he was 10, and she said, "It's wonderful, Alan," which was an awful thing to hear.
Yeah.
And then so we're talking about sex and stuff, and then he said, I have to go to my trailer and jerk off now. That was great that Hawkeye made that joke.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin Smith, obviously a huge celebrity, one of our celebrity friends. I want to bring up the Alan Alda incident with Jim Norton and get Kevin's feel on the whole thing. Jimmy was making it. Yeah, Anthony has made a friend in Kevin Smith. They are now friends.
Not like a friend. I don't consider.
When you go there and you play poker, and it's become more than just him calling up our show.
I gotta bury a body. I'm there in a heartbeat.
All right, then that's a friend, Kevin.
The other night, Jimmy met.
Be available soon.
Jimmy met Alan Alda, and it was going very well. Maybe you could get some advice from Kevin.
I met him before.
Where it went wrong.
I met him before, and I got a photo with him. He's very difficult because he's a skittish guy, but he's nice. And I went to this rap party he was involved with, and I got him to sign the picture, and we were talking. But I was talking about MASH, and he loved the fact that I noticed certain things in MASH about language. And he's heard our show, and he kind of liked it. And I just got carried away.
Wait, how carried away did you get? Did you tell him how much you love the Four Seasons and Sweet Liberty?
No.
Was it Sally's Hideaway?
I said, seems like old times. I said, I heard that Ellen Burstyn's a cunt, and I elbowed him.
Wow. Very good.
I was...
Hell of a reference.
Spook him out, completely spook him out, and start memorizing and repeating lines from Sweet Liberty and watch his face drop.
I was just pretending I was Mako and MASH, and I was doing like the Mako's lines, and he was supposed to. I'm like, you have done your job, Captain. I'll do mine. And then I looked at him like, waiting, go, Alan, go.
That'll work.
MASH is too easy. You got to rock some shit from Betsy's Wedding. Like just the real obscure Alda flicks.
But he went like obscure even for MASH, like very distinct, a line, something that Alan actually wrote.
Yeah.
And he was thrilled to talk about that. But then I think Jim went a little too far and continued with the line of MASH questions and stuff. And he said he sensed.
He saw the relationship slipping away.
He didn't see anything really like definite, but just sensed that moment had passed and he should just leave.
And I did before it got crazy, but I could see the moment where Alan's like, interesting guy, interesting. Douchebag.
Douchebag. So now, of course, Kevin, the question, if someone comes up to you, and obviously people are constantly ask you things about Clerks, or many of the movies that you've done, but is there a question that you go like, oh, wow, fuck, that's cool, I haven't heard that, and I'm kind of excited that he asked that, and I'll answer it, and then maybe the next question's kind of like, oh, he's just a hack with his questions.
No, the bummer question, they can ask any question they want. The bummer question to me will always be like, you're having a conversation with them, they're noticing stuff about what you've done, they've got a real insight into it, paid close attention, and you feel like, all right, this is cool, and then they rock you with, hey, so I've got a script.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's where it falls apart, dude. I will talk about the stuff I've done no end. People want to talk about the movies. That's fun, and that's cool, and it's flattering. But the moment they're like, I need your help, then it's like, oh, God, you crossed the line, dude. I don't do that. And it's also like, I didn't turn to anyone for help. I did it on my own. You do it on your own. You'll be a much happier person for it.
It's always awkward, though, like if I get like offered a script, like, can I send it to you? I'm like, I don't want to get sued by doing something later that reminds you of this. So I always say, don't send me anything unsolicited.
That's totally, I always go with the whole, like, if for legal reasons I can't take it because something I write resembles something you write, then you could sue me. But now I've stopped lying about it, too. I mean, that's the truth. But really,
stop lying, just go,
no interest in reading somebody else's script.
Well, no, I actually am worried about that because people have gotten sued from that. I am worried, like, what if I do a joke or if I do something that reminds them of something that they sent and I never even read? I'm like, what if I get sued for that shit?
David Chase got sued for The Sopranos. Some guy from North Jersey said he gave David Chase a script. Chase got sued. I don't know how it ever settled, but I know a guy sued him for it.
It was the guy that wrote, I think it was Sleeping Beauty, because of that last boring fucking episode he passed off as a season finale.